Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. It is officially Friday. We did a podcast yesterday, and I got really excited because I was like, "Oh, it's Friday," and I was like, "Wait! It's a Thursday." All right, so today we have David Hines. Said it right, Hines,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah, like the Hines brand.
Yep.
No, that's Heinz. Never mind. It's spelled totally different. Hines. Anyway, Hines. That's his last name, Hines. Forgive me. Anyway, we're talking with David Hines. He is the co-owner of Huya Craft Coffee in Youngsville, Louisiana. And they just made their 2-year anniversary. So we're going to be talking about that. But first, you're listening to The Tea. Well, let's go ahead and get you introduced to everybody. So if you want, go ahead and just kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself and who you are and kind of where you're from.
Okay. I'm David Hines. I'm co-owner, like Ben said, for Huya Craft Coffee. My wife and I, Shayna Hines, opened it up with our business partner, Kylie Lagarde, back in 2020. We've since bought Kylie out, and so we're sole owners now. But my wife and I are from the Sharonton area. My wife's tribal. She's Native American through the Chitimacha tribe. And that's where the name comes from. So Huya means thank you, with a second meaning of goodness. My wife's mom taught the language on the reservation. And then she taught my wife the language, and we use it in the house, with our kids. And so that's how the name came about. We're just really thankful to have the opportunity to be in the position we are to have the shop. So it's super exciting.
Yeah. So I kind of want to talk about the origin story here. So you said your wife is tribal, Chitimachan tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's where the name what the golf event comes from, right?
Yep.
So is the Chitimacha tribe original? Like, is that one of the original Native American that were in this area?
It is. So the Chitimacha tribe, and they could probably correct me if I'm wrong, but from my understanding, the Chitimacha tribe encompassed almost all of Louisiana at one point.
Oh, wow.
Like, their territory was very big, but they were focused in the Sharonton area.
And Sheraton, that's south, right?
Yep. It is. So Sharonton's near Jeanerette and Franklin.
Okay, yeah, I figured it was somewhere around there because I think I remember. I think there might be like a sign or something because it's probably not the biggest place, right?
It's not. The reservation itself is fairly small, but it's really nice. They have a great museum. If you ever get a chance to go out there, there's a lot of cultural things there, a lot of really good information on the tribe itself, and the people who work in the museum are very knowledgeable about the reservation and information about the reservation. It's a really neat place.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's really neat. And the word Huya, like you said, means thank you, right?
It does.
And then also a double meaning goodness. How I'm curious, as a token white boy, that's not really token. There's so many white people. How is it a double meaning? I mean, I guess the normal English language can have double meanings for many of the words. So, like, how is the double meaning derived?
So my understanding is that, and the way that we use it in conversation is, you do something, it's Huya. Or I might also, if somebody comes to the shop, a friend of mine is on their way out, Huya. And then I'm really just saying, like, hey, have a great day, love you, Huya. And I think that's where that second meaning comes in at, almost like a goodness be upon you, or goodness your way. Is Huya. And I think that's where that second meaning comes from.
Okay. So it's kind of like the English version of "you good?"
Yeah. Or
like,
aloha or something like that. It's yeah, you good.
Like, you could say, "Yo, bro, you good?" "Oh, you're good."
Yeah.
Like, you get if you change the inflection of it, like, okay, it means several different things. And there's been like TikTokers who were made like renditions of the "you good" video, and like, I'm like, dang, there's like 7 different meanings of "you good," like depending on how you say it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can look at somebody, you good?
Yeah.
Now we're about to fight.
Right. Bro, you good? Like,
Good. What's up?
oh man, hilarious. So, tell me a little bit about the process or the start of creating the Huya Craft Coffee business. Before we went on, you were telling me that you just started drinking coffee in 2015, right?
2015, September of 2015.
I don't believe it's like, are you like 8 years old,
Yeah,
7 years old?
No, so it was a couple of weeks before I turned 30, actually. I was riding in a car with a buddy of mine, and he was going to Starbucks to get
Of course it was Starbucks.
of course, a grande mocha. That was his drink. We'd go every day, so he'd get a grande mocha. And as we pull into the drive-through, they hand him his drink, and they the young lady at the drive-through, and I really do wish that I could find this lady. I really do, because she changed the trajectory of my life for the better. So she had an extra drink, and she said, "Hey, I don't remember what the cause was. If it was they messed it up or they accidentally made too many, whatever the case was, but it was a Java chip Frappuccino." And she handed it to him. She said, "Hey, we messed up on this or whatever. We'd like to give this to y'all." And I was like, "Look, I don't drink coffee. I'm okay." And he looked at me. He's like, "Just take the coffee." And that's how he talks. Just take the coffee. So I was like, "All right." So I took it, and I was going to bring it back to the office and give it to someone else. And I was holding it, and it looked so good. Starbucks did a great job with this drink. It looked great. And so I was like, I'll try it. So I took a sip and hit me. I was like, "Oh, this is good." So I got hooked on it, and I started having to buy Java chip Frappuccinos every day. They were expensive.
Got expensive.
It was expensive, and so I was like, let me see what McDonald's has. So I went to McDonald's, got their blended drink, and I started trying these other places, and then naturally I wanted to make it myself. So I started down that rabbit hole. And once I started trying to learn how to make it myself, I had to learn how to make coffee good. And once I started going down that rabbit hole, my brother, who's a coffee snob, he had some Ethiopia coffee from Rev. And if I'm not mistaken, it was the year they won an award for that particular bean that they had a lot. It was some Jurgersteff Ethiopia beans. And I think they won the golden bean on that one. So he let me try that as a pour over in a Chemex. And that blew my mind away. It was, man, this is good. And it's different and it's great. And I started going down that trail. And when my wife and I decided we wanted to open up a business, we started with a mobile coffee shop first. And we got connected with Nathaniel Johnson with Rev. He was our roaster then and still is. And I really started getting into the specialty coffee world and that style of coffee. And within a very short time, I went from not drinking coffee at all to only liking straight up black coffee, either done as a pour over or a really good shot of espresso or, depending on the shop, drip.
Wow. Yeah. You went from the frou-frou coffee to the black coffee, man, like straight up.
Yeah. And I couldn't tell you the last time I had a Java chip Frappuccino. Although I'm really thankful for it, and I'm thankful for what it did for me.
It kickstarted your journey.
It kickstarted the journey, and
dude. Okay, I'm still fascinated that you didn't drink coffee until 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Why didn't you drink coffee?
I really couldn't. I don't know. I was really bad about energy drinks, and there's nothing against them. I'll treat myself to one every now and then.
An energy drink. What's your guilty?
Oh man, it's the
not Red Bull, huh?
No. Although I do enjoy Red Bull every now and then. When we're on the road, if it's too late and I can't get a good coffee and we're on the road, I'll get a Red Bull. But it was the Blue Monster, the Monster with the blue M.
Yeah,
I was hooked. I'd buy them by the caseload from these the big box stores. And, so much so that I would save the tabs and send them in and get free swag, shirts, and stuff like that.
That's how dedicated.
I was drinking at least one a day. So yeah, at least one a day.
Wow.
Yeah. I was on them.
And those things are hard on you.
They are. And I noticed a difference when I started drinking coffee. Definitely noticed a difference in the type of caffeine that I was getting. And all the other issues that come with sugary drinks like that. But I definitely enjoy my coffee now.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys started Huya Coffee in 2020, right?
So we started Huya Coffee in 2020. That's correct.
Yeah, and that was with the mobile truck?
Nope. So
The mobile truck was before.
Yeah, the mobile truck was in 2016.
Okay.
So we did that for a while.
And what was it called?
Brewed Over.
Brewed Over. Okay.
Mobile coffee shop. And so the coffee trailer was a really cool concept that we created. My wife and I designed that out. We were going to build just a regular, almost like a food truck or food trailer type deal. And we found that to go from having a 16-foot trailer to a 20-foot long trailer wasn't that much more expensive. And to add an extra foot of height was, again, it was manageable. Maybe like $400 more for the trailer. And my wife had the idea. She's like, hey, let's make it to where people can come inside as well. Because that was the big pitfall at the time for mobile and for coffee is everybody, the coffee shop is more than just coffee. It's a gathering place.
Yeah.
And we wanted to be able to gather. And so we made it to where you can come inside. And I'll shoot you some pictures of that. I have some still. We had a bar on the inside where people could come and sit and set their computers up. We had a sofa.
Inside of a trailer?
Inside of a 20-foot trailer. It was all set up to where you can come inside. We rarely served people from the window. It was almost always
And where was
inside.
this truck at? Where was this trailer at?
We started it in the Baldwin, Sharonton area, testing those markets to see if, hey, can we get enough following for this style of coffee before we invest into a building? And we did. We really liked it. We had a really good customer base in the Sharonton area and Baldwin, Franklin. We looked into buying or leasing some space to do a brick and mortar. It didn't work out for a few reasons, but we at the same time tested the market in Youngsville. They had the farmers market at Sugar Mill Pond, and so we started going to that on the weekends, and we found that we had a good following there as well, and we thought the market was good for a coffee shop. It wasn't right timing for us, but we watched the building we're in currently be built.
Yeah.
From the farmer's market in Sugar Mill Pond, we would set up. It was like, man, that's a beautiful space. That shopping center would be great.
It's built by Van Allen, right?
I believe so, yeah. And so in 2020, we had closed the coffee trailer until we could find. We wanted to go brick and mortar, but we had closed it while we figured that out. And in 2020, I get a message from Kylie, who was a customer of ours from the mobile shop. And she's like, hey, I'm not sure if you're interested in doing brick and mortar, but I'm interested, and I'd like to team up. And that was it. That was in February of 2020. She messaged us, and in April, we signed our lease.
All right. So 2020, the year that everybody would like to forget that whole scenario, and somehow we're still somewhat feeling effects from it. What in your right mind were you thinking about opening up a business where a majority of your traffic, I say majority, you have a lot of drive-through traffic, but your clientele is a in-person, want to be inside, want to linger, do some work type of clientele that's coffee shops. In the middle of a pandemic, like, what was the thought process behind that? Because I'm curious, like, to be a new business and a brick and mortar business in 2020 had to be difficult.
Yeah. So, we had started the conversations in February of 2020, and that's still when we were joking about COVID and the
I think everybody was joking
like
about it.
It was still a joke, and it was in, I think, March. So we had February, March. I think it was late March when things started getting serious, and I think the governor started shutting some things down. But at that point, we were already kind of we were full throttle into it, and already had it set in our hearts, like, hey, we're going to do this. And Kylie, when she sets her mind to something, she does it. And I've always been really impressed by the fact that she's got a really high drive. Same with Shayna and same with me. Set our mind to it, we're doing it. And obstacles or not, we'll figure a way to get around it or get over it or get through it. And I'm so thankful for the three of us, because I think that's why. couldn't have done it without the three of us.
Yeah.
And Kylie and Shayna included in that.
It doesn't even feel like it's been that long. It feels like your company is it's still 2 years. Yep. You just made 2 years yesterday, right?
Yes, sir.
And while it's been 2 years, it still feels like you just started it. And I remember going and doing a video tour and everything else. And I remember you making me some coffee and it was great. And I'm like, dude. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, at that time, I don't, like, thinking about it now, I don't remember COVID being an issue. And it was because you had sanitizer, you had to wear the mask and all that good stuff. And I'm like, but I don't know, the COVID issue, the pandemic has altered space-time reality.
It has.
I don't understand what's happening because I feel like it's been decades, but it's only been 2.5 years. I'm like, what happened?
I think it'll be our generations before the war. Like, do you remember before the war?
It'll BC
before COVID. So when we opened, we still have some remnants of it. So there's still Huya stickers on the ground, and that was meant for social distancing and where people line up. We were only allowed 3 tables when we opened up inside, and we're only allowed 3 chairs per table. Wow. They had to be 10 feet apart from the back of this chair to the back of this chair. And so we were only allowed 3 tables, and then we had our bar seating and slow bar, but mask and social distancing and all those fun things. I'm almost thankful for it because it allowed us some grace. I think it allowed us some
ability to
slowly ramp up.
Yeah.
I think so. Like today, for instance, we were really busy this morning, and I think had we been as busy as we were today on our first day, it'd have been really hard to manage.
Yeah.
Especially being a new business, a new concept. Out of the 12 people that we originally hired, only 3 had ever made coffee before.
Wow.
And so
you're having to teach these people and
teach them, not only teach them how to make coffee, but how to understand orders, how to be able to hold a conversation in the style of coffee that we want to put out and the product that we want to do. Had we been as busy as we were today or on our normal Saturdays, when we first opened, it'd have been difficult.
Yeah.
So I think it gave us a chance to slowly ramp up in a healthy way.
Okay.
I'm thankful for it. I'm really thankful for that first year and how easy it was to just slowly get into it. So
yeah. Well, I want to get my sponsors in real quick. So you guys probably have already noticed, and I've been saying this for a little while now, but we do appreciate these sponsors. The Music Academy of Acadiana, Acadiana's top choice for music lessons. If you want to get started in music, if you've kind of been thinking about it, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, what your skill level is. The Music Academy of Acadiana can teach you. They teach students of all ages and styles, like I said, and then they teach piano, guitar, voice, drums, saxophone, flute. If you want to learn audio production, they do that and more. They have an in-house recording studio where they record some pretty significant. I don't want to say some Louisiana celebrities, for lack of better words. I'm not going to name them. They've premiered on major music competitions like American Idol and The Voice. It's founded locally by Tim Benson, who is a University of Louisiana at Lafayette music school graduate. It's a great local company, many awards locally and nationally. Ultimately, their goal is to make music lessons fun, educational, to help foster the next generation of musicians and creative thinkers. You can check them out at musicacademyacadiana.com and on Facebook, Instagram, all those social media places. And then we also have our tech sponsor, who without them, we would have been dead in the water if it wasn't for their grace of providing us with a iPad that we are still using today. It's only been about a year, I think, since we partnered with them. Local company, they're Acadiana's only Apple authorized service provider. And you're probably asking yourself, well, that's a lot of words. What does that mean? Essentially, this is one of the only few local companies that, apart from Apple, that Apple works with. They fix your phone, they fix your MacBooks, any Apple product the way Apple's supposed to fix it. They're supposed to work. They use genuine Apple parts, which is, there's a lot to be said to that. And so they have 2 locations in Lafayette, one by Buffalo Wild Wings and in Youngsville. They probably should have one in Youngsville, but in Karen Crow by Super One Foods. You can also go to their website to book an appointment to get an item looked at to be fixed at theorchardstores.com. Check those 2 sponsors out. We really appreciate them, and they do their best to support the community and also to support us. All right, David. So we are still talking about, of course, Huya Coffee and all that good stuff. So you started out with coffee, and I went to the Facebook page today, and I've been seeing food posts from you guys because I follow you guys. If you don't follow them, you should look up Huya Craft Coffee on Facebook and I think Instagram, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you guys have this one item besides coffee that I want to try so bad, and I don't live anywhere near Youngsville. So for me to go out there to get this, I have to make a special trip. And one day I'm going to make a special trip is gourmet Pop Tarts.
Yeah, Pop Tarts.
Like that right there in and of itself just screams like, come eat me. Like,
yeah.
And they look pretty. I got a couple of images here. I'm gonna let some people see. So this one right here is a blue iced Pop Tart. What is this Pop Tart?
This is the one with the white sprinkles.
Yes.
So that's the blueberry Pop Tart. That one was a blueberry.
God, it looks so good.
Yeah. So the Pop Tarts are a funny story. We started out when we first opened up, focusing our energy and our staff's energy on coffee and drinks.
Why not?
And we also had and we still do a gourmet, we call it a bougie toast bar. It's really thick cut bread from Great Harvest. Brian Melançon's over there, and it's bread from his place. And we have a whole bougie toast bar line that we do. And we were focusing our energy on that and allowing Brian to focus his energy on our pastry case. So we were purchasing pastries from Brian at a Great Harvest to include scones, muffins, breads, things like that. We had also hired a pastry chef to come in and help us out. Called her name's Amanda Wildblood.
Wildblood?
Wildblood, yeah, Amanda Wildblood.
Is she a Chitimacha?
She is not.
Because that sounds like a red-blooded name right there, like Wildblood. I love it.
That's her married name. Amanda is absolutely amazing. Man, I wish I had half the skill that she does in the kitchen. She's absolutely amazing. But Amanda came in and she was playing around the kitchen, and we were doing turnovers. And we were putting a few turnovers out, and she had made a boudin turnover. And so she stuffed it with boudin and topped it with pepper jelly and crackling. But these little triangle turnovers. And she also had some chicken and artichoke pesto turnovers. We were just utilizing stuff that we had in the kitchen. And I don't remember who exactly it was. And I think if you asked them, everybody would take credit for it. I think it was a joint effort. I think several people had mentioned doing Pop-Tarts.
Okay.
Or doing them in a rectangle like a Pop-Tart and crimping them. And it was just Amanda made some. And I don't remember if it was the boudin or the savory Pop-Tarts first, or if we immediately started doing sweet Pop-Tarts. But Pop-Tarts were introduced into our lineup. And for lack of better words, the rest is history on it. We entered our boudin Pop-Tart into a national challenge or a national competition through General Mills called Nations to Neighborhoods, or Neighborhoods to Nations. Neighborhoods to Nations.
Yeah, I remember
so
that.
We were entered into that. And we wanted to be special, so we didn't do just a regular strawberry Pop-Tart. We did our boudin Pop-Tart. And, man, when that thing took off, it was, it did a lot for us. We started ramping up, and we went from having just a couple Pop-Tarts in the case. If you would have came in, or if you look at earlier pictures, you might only see 4 or 5, different flavors. We've probably done over 50 since then, different flavors that we rotate in and out.
Okay. But you don't have 50 in a case.
We don't have 50 at one time. So we keep the entire top shelf of the pastry case for Pop-Tarts, and we can fit 5 different flavors up there. So depending on the season, depending on what ingredients we have, sometimes we'll at least have 3, but sometimes we'll have as much as 5. Cookie butter and strawberry stay up there. That's our highest
Cookie butter and strawberry.
demanded Pop Tarts. It's cookie butter and strawberries. It's those two. So we always have those available, and boudin's always available. But the rest of them we rotate in depending on what we have available. Sometimes we'll have blueberry, or if we get some good lemons, we'll do lemon and blueberry, raspberry. We've also started to where we'll stuff them with brownies. We have a really good brownie recipe that we use, and we'll stuff them with brownies. And so we'll also stuff them like on our birthday cake one. I think you had a picture of that one, the one with the number 2 on it. So that one's stuffed with yellow birthday cake that has sprinkles mixed in and some other flavors and Bavarian cream. So if you were to open that one up, you would see a birthday cake on the inside essentially. And so we'll do some fun ones like that. We do them in the regular, with easily recognizable Pop Tart shapes.
Yeah.
But we also make larger pop cakes. So they look like a Pop Tart, but 5 times bigger. They're huge. So we do those when people ask for them, or for events, we'll make pop cakes.
So how thick are the Pop Tarts here? Because I'm seeing a top-down view. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the thickness level?
So depending on what's in them, the blueberry ones are probably about that thick.
So 3/4 of an inch, roughly?
And then the birthday cake, the brownie, and the cookie dough ones that we've done are much thicker. They have some heft to them.
Man. I want a Pop Tart. I want a Pop Tart.
I feel like a jerk now for not bringing one.
Oh God. Okay.
I come this way often. I'll shoot you a call and
look. Don't feel bad for not bringing many. I need to go over there and get a Pop Tart because I want one so bad.
We'll do that, or a Brownie Bomb. The Brownie Bombs will mess you up too. So the Brownie Bombs are essentially we make a brownie batter and we pour it into a muffin pan, and once it's done baking, we use the handle of a scoop and we press down the center of it, and then we fill that center with cookie butter, or we'll melt white chocolate chips and fill the center of it up. We'll do Brownie Bombs, and those, man, you put those in a like a coffee mug, and warm it up just a little bit, and then put ice cream on top. Man,
you need to stop.
It's so good,
dude. It's almost lunchtime. I need to eat something that's not full of sugar yet.
Boudin Pop Tart.
God,
a loaded Boudin Pop Tart.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Bacon.
Okay, I'm gonna throw a joke at you. You don't get the Boudin from the center aisle at Walmart, did you?
We do not. So we started out buying Boudin from a local company.
Okay.
And it came to a point where that wasn't an option any longer. And so I talked to my dad. My dad used to make Boudin tamales. So he had a recipe for Boudin.
Boudin tamales?
Boudin tamales.
God.
Yeah, so he was making all sort of very traditional tamales. But one of them was also a Boudin tamale, hot sauces and other things. And so I called him up and said, "Hey Dad, can I get your recipe? I need a Boudin recipe." And so he sent me his recipe minus a few ingredients and instructions. That's a long thing in our family where we'll share a recipe, but you're not getting all of it.
Right, you had to figure it out yourself.
Even still, the recipe that I have posted at the shop, although I'm the only one who makes the Boudin at the shop, the recipe that I have up there is missing things, and I know what it's missing and where it's missing, and so I just have that one ingredient memorized. Everything else is written down.
Wow.
So we make Boudin. I do it about once a month. I make.
So it's like a coded recipe.
Yeah.
It's only partially listed, but so do you have like, I want to say, is it Todd Graves? He has the cane sauce recipe behind lock and key somewhere, and apparently he is the only one who knows that recipe. I find that hard to believe. Somebody else has to know it.
I find that hard to believe. Knowing what we've gone through with the health department and like what all information we have to give, I find that hard to believe. But maybe.
Unless he figured out a way to skirt it legally to where he only had to list, I guess, some of because you have to list the ingredients because if people are allergic,
right?
Because if you read the ingredients of cane sauce, there's anchovy in it. And a lot of people may not realize that, but I think Worcestershire sauce is anchovy based, and like I didn't know that. And then I'm like, dude, I've been eating like fish sauce. Like that's essentially what that is. I'm like, oh God, I don't eat a whole lot of fish. And like,
Man.
but I get it.
Don't ever read the ingredients for what's in sausage. It'll ruin you.
Oh, I know. Look, let me tell you, as a kid, my dad would always joke with us kids saying, oh, y'all like them hot dogs, huh? You eating a bunch of cow lips and pig butt and whatever else. I'm like, that can't be true. They wouldn't do that. And I go read the ingredients. And while it doesn't explicitly say those items, it says
other.
Close. It says pork, chicken, and beef. Usually, it's like 2 or 3 things mixed. I'm like, okay. I'm just my imagination is telling me that this is the other portions of what some people may consider edible, like cow tongue.
Yep.
For a lot of people, is edible.
Yep.
It's a delicacy for even like Mexican culture and like with tacos, but I don't want to eat it.
It's not my thing.
It's not my vibe, man. It's not, what is it? It's not my bag.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, just back into the lock and key thing, secret ingredients.
So it's not a secret ingredient. It's really just about portions because, having one of too many things can really mess up a good boudin. And so it's more about portions.
You have liver in yours, right?
Lock and key, man.
like there's no
over here lock and key.
Well, I think most people in the Cajun world know that boudin has liver to some degree.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know portions or anything like that, but
so we do have a traditional boudin recipe that we use.
Okay, you have a traditional, and you probably have another one. I'm sure
we have a traditional boudin recipe that we use. We're really proud of it. It's come in on a day where we're cooking boudin at the shop. The entire shop smells like boudin. It smells fantastic.
I bet.
And so, and usually what I'll do is once I get done, and we don't put it in casing, obviously. So once I get done with it, I'll usually start portioning it out and seeing who's in the shop and start bringing over samples to people. Hey, if you're hungry, take a bite of this. Let me know if it needs something. It's normally spicier than what you would normally get, largely because by the time we put it into the pastry, which kind of sweetens it up a little bit, and we put pepper jelly and a few other things, it really calms down that spice that's naturally in it. So I have to make it spicier than normal when I'm making the base.
Okay.
So, I say big. If you go talk to a professional boudin maker, they'll laugh at the amount. But for us, for a coffee shop, we do about 50 pounds a month worth of boudin that we make. So it's a full day of boudin.
Yeah, 50 pounds. I mean, hey, that's nothing to shake a stick at. That's
we're proud of it.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent amount to be stuffing inside of Pop Tarts.
Yeah,
let's just say that.
Yeah.
Now, a company such as Don's or Billy's, I mean,
that's nothing.
Yeah, they go through that in like an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, they gotta pump out so much boudin. Honestly, I don't know how they manage it. Because you can go almost any day, get boudin balls, and they're fresh. And I say fresh, they're fresh enough, and filled with pepper jack cheese and all these other things. I'm like, dang. And I want to say Don's, the owner of Don's. I interviewed him with another thing I do, and he told me how much boudin they make. It was a lot. Yeah. It was several thousands of pounds a year.
That's insane.
I'm like, God, I couldn't imagine. And like, of course, plate lunches and hot dogs. I mean, he told me like the number of things he would sell in a year. I'm like, dude, it's insane. Like, I think boudin ranked pretty high up there on the quantity amount. But yes, it's really wild.
I forgot with Pop Tarts last year, not including any bulk orders, and we had bulk orders of 500. We had some pretty big bulk orders last year. Not including bulk orders, I know it was close to 20-something thousand Pop Tarts that we pumped out. And like I said, that's not including pop cakes, bulk orders, or things that we gifted out. Or even so we do like the teacher appreciations and Mother's Day Pop Tarts. We'll put them in a bag with a voucher for a drink. So we pump out some Pop Tarts.
Yeah, so you said 20,000. That's for about a calendar year, roughly.
Yeah, and that was last year. We're going to exceed that number this year. Pop Tarts didn't really start taking off until March or April is really when they started to take off. We almost took the Boudin Pop Tart off the menu. We were getting close to doing that. We were just kind of waiting to see what this competition did and to see if we can get some traction on it. But we weren't moving many of them, and we were getting close to like, hey, we need to focus some energy on some other stuff. And when the announcement came out that we won, and the media attention we got behind it, it was, hey, we need to double down and make more. Yeah, the Boudin Pop Tart, which is a customer favorite, was almost next.
You know, and that's so wild. In business, you know, as a business owner, like, okay, what I have here is good,
Mm-hmm.
just nobody knows about it.
Yeah,
And if you can only tell somebody
yeah,
about what you have, then they would appreciate it and buy it. But how do you do that? And then you guys, I mean, by the grace of God, essentially, is that you had this media coverage and this competition. I think it was a competition.
it was a nationwide competition.
Yeah.
That there's chefs there's companies that put into this competition and have been doing it for 15 years and have never made it past the first selection. To say I think it was a good mix of being really fortunate, right place, right time. Our sales rep from Cisco had mentioned that we should do it, and her saying that to the right person who had the amount of energy to do it at the moment and convinced us to do it, made a huge impact in our business. We saw what focusing energy and money into advertising could do for us, because the issue that we had is we were yelling into an echo chamber. We were yelling to this really small group of people that loved us. We loved them, but there were so many people who didn't know about us.
Yeah.
And we're still finding people in the neighborhood. So we're right next to Sugar Mill Pond, where our shop is attached to the neighborhood. We're still finding people in the neighborhood that don't know we exist.
Dude.
People that can see our shop from their front door don't know we exist. And every time I do that, and I find out, because we live in the neighborhood, my wife and I and our kids, and we walk, and we'll meet people. It's a really friendly neighborhood, and we'll get to chatting, and hey, what do you do? Well, we had the coffee shop up front on Shemin. And they'll say, what coffee shop? And I'm like, the one that's been there for 2 years.
Yeah, like it's right there.
And they're like, I drive by there all the time. I had no idea. And it blows me away every time.
Yeah.
And so but it's also a reminder to me, like, hey, you got to get out there. You have to get out there, and you have to advertise. You have to do some unconventional advertising. My kids went to school right near the roundabout by the shop, and their teachers didn't know we existed because they never came past that roundabout.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do that? How do we encourage them to go out of their way to come see us?
It's a creature of habit mentality. Yep. I mean, with the page I run, there's a lot of people that follow it.
Yep.
And I think one of the things that helps us is that we cover the gamut of the parish,
Mm-hmm.
as far as like south, north, I say east and west. I don't know if we have a true east and west, but north and south for sure. And there's people from the south side of town. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're south of Johnston Street,
Yep.
you don't go north of Johnston Street because you don't need anything
Yep.
there usually. And then people from the north part of the Johnston Street, they only go to the south side because all the popular stuff, but they go one track. But
Mm-hmm.
like people were defined, they've defined their routes and their kind of their living quarters, and they live within that, and they
Yep.
find what they need within that. And it's just interesting to watch. And to your point of how you 2 years in and you think people should know you by now. I've been doing Developing Lafayette for 10 years,
Yeah.
over 10 years. There are still people who I'll talk to that are prominent in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah. So I run, Developing Lafayette, and they go, Developing Lafayette? Like, are you guys with the government or something like that? I'm like,
Yeah.
Close. No, but yeah. So I'll tell them a little bit about it, and I'll say, okay, you might have seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
It might have come across your feed, but again, creature of habit.
Yep.
You get into the mode of swiping or driving without, looking. And that's why a lot of people don't notice things for a while. They get into that tunnel vision of just going back and forth to work and home. And then Everything else on the side
becomes white noise.
Is white noise.
Yep.
Urban camouflage is
Yeah.
what it's called. Yeah, it just becomes all the same at some point.
We try to combat that by having bright colors in our logo. There's some restrictions on what they allow us to do.
And Sugar Mill Pond,
sign wise. So we just try to stay within those boundaries, but be eye catching, be inviting.
You can't put one of those little men that
No,
blow
you
over
can't.
and wave and flip
No
flop.
signs. We had and listen, I love the city. I
Yeah.
really do. The city has allowed and invited us in as outsiders and given us a platform that my hometown didn't give us. Absolutely love the city and what they're doing there. I love this area in general. But we had one that competition. They had sent us some yard signs to put out. I put a yard sign out near our drive-through, and it wasn't there 30 minutes before a code and enforcement truck drove up, picked it up, threw it in the back of the truck, and left.
Wow.
Yeah, signs like that can't be put out. They
Can I have my sign back?
yeah, can I just have it? And so, and don't get me wrong, I love and appreciate the fact, because I think that's why Youngsville looks as good as it does, is they're really on top of those sort of things. But advertising, it can be tough. So we do a decent amount through. We had some TV ads running for a while, and then we've also been really fortunate to have some platforms like on Developing Lafayette and some other news agencies that have given us some platforms, like Gerald Grulig and some of those people. We've been really fortunate to have a relationship with them.
Yeah, Gerald, he man, the energy behind that guy is just I can't maintain that. I can do that for like a short spurt if I need to. It's also not my personality. I'm not like this, like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like my little boy, he's 5 going on 6. He plays on his tablet. He plays Roblox, and he has friends, and they're all playing together, and they'll be like, let's go. And I'm like, oh, it reminds me whenever I played like Halo and Call of Duty when I was younger. I play Call of Duty today. But yeah, my like, maybe it's just me getting older. Even though I'm 36, I feel like my let's go energy is just in a different, I'm using it in a different capacity.
It's more like, come on.
Yeah, it's like, dude, just come on. Let's roll.
Come on, 3 dots.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh God.
He's such a cool guy, and his camera guy that works with him, John, is super chill, really nice too. Man, I enjoy working with those guys. They're really fun, and he's got a really good story too. If you ever get a chance to sit down and talk with him,
Are you talking about John?
no, but John's got a cool story, but Gerald,
Yeah, Gerald.
Gerald's got a really cool story, and it's very similar to you. The desire to help small businesses is very genuine, and it's you can feel it. And as a small business owner, it's very much appreciated, because it's hard to get on a platform of any sort, and so to be afforded an opportunity by somebody who's doing it in a very genuine way is nice. So truly, I said it earlier off camera or off mic. Thank you, but really, Huya, I really appreciate you having us on here. It really does mean a lot.
I appreciate that. Look, like you said, I like to genuinely help people, and Developing Lafayette was started because I had a curiosity about what was coming, and it's still that. It's still, the root of it is still that, but I've realized that, with as many people that follow us and the engagement that we get, like showing off the businesses that make Lafayette Parish what it is, whether you're in Youngsville, Broussard, Karen Crow, sometimes Dusant, because it's on that border, I'm pretty sure I'm missing. Oh, Scott's blowing up. I mean, there's different places around the parish that just provide what we're known for as far as the Cajun heartland, essentially. And, I want to show that off. And, whether it's an old business or a new business, I've realized that, like you said, there are people out there that don't realize a business exists. There's probably businesses that have been around for 50 years that people don't know about, whether they've lived here all their lives or they're I say new converts to the Lafayette Parish vibe. They may not know about it.
Yep.
So sometimes highlighting those older businesses are also, good, because I'm all about new businesses, but some of these older businesses are worth talking about.
Yep.
So yeah,
100%. So I started following your page whenever we opened up. I didn't spend a whole lot of time in Lafayette, and I was from the Franklin area. And so we would come to Lafayette, but following your page and seeing some of these places, like, man, I never knew that they existed. There's so many things that as a new business owner, that I'm just more conscious of as a consumer. I'm more conscious of supporting local businesses, and finding local restaurants. We're trying to think of somewhere to go. We have our favorites when it comes to some local joints.
Yeah.
We also like, hey, let's go try something different. And when I go there, I'll usually ask them, and we talked about this off mic too, about, hey, you just fix me something special.
Yeah.
When I go to somewhere new, especially if it's a style that's not something that I normally gravitate to, like, hey, can you just choose something on the menu for me? I just want something new. I'm here because I want something new. I want to try something new. Provide me something new. Because if not, if I just choose off the menu, I'll end up going what's comfortable. And
yeah, you're gonna get a burger on. You're gonna go to a Cuban restaurant and get a burger.
Yeah,
like,
so no, just fix me. I don't eat seafood, which I know is against Cajun law, but I've never had I've never cared for seafood.
Bro,
So.
we're here. Look,
Yeah,
I don't eat
it's
seafood
tough.
either. Like, the only seafood I will eat, I'll tolerate. I used to eat fish sticks when I was a kid. I don't eat it now because it's not my thing. But as far as fish goes, if we go to a nice restaurant and they have mahi-mahi, I will eat that.
Really?
It doesn't have that fishy aftertaste, and it's really clean and flaky. And whenever it's cooked with like good lemon on a hard wood plank, you know how they church it up on the menu, I'll eat that. But it's not often. Like, I'm pretty red-blooded when it comes to the food. Like, I want a good, like, if I'm going to eat, I want a steak.
Yeah.
I'll go to Poor and River Ranch. They have a really good filet. Texas Roadhouse, that was my first filet I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Whenever I was probably 16, 17 years old, maybe 18, I remember going to Texas Roadhouse, and I ordered my first filet ever in my life. My mom and dad were like, y'all get what y'all want. It must have been tax season or something. And I said, I want to try a filet. I started watching Hell's Kitchen, and I hear about all these other items, and I'm like, I see a filet on the menu. I want to try that. And so I order that, and somebody on the next table says, if you get that steak, you better not put steak sauce on it. I'm like, oh, okay. And this is in Alexandria. This is where the Texas Roadhouse is. So that's why I added that northern kind of situation happening, the redneck sound. But I was like, no steak sauce. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
More ketchup, please.
Like, that's what steak sauce is for. So I was like, you know what? And he made a good point. He said, if that steak is good, it's going to be good without the sauce. You just go ahead and trust me on that one. I'm like, all right, whatever. So the steak comes out. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody. I don't know if that's cultural appropriation or not, but I'm from the area, so I can do that if I want to. All right. Okay. So the steak comes to my table. And it's a nice hefty looking piece of meat, and I think at the time I got it not well done, because I learned that is a mortal sin.
It's against the law.
Yeah, but I did well, medium well, and so sometimes it's never exactly right. Sometimes it's usually less. Sometimes it's more, depending on who the cook is. But it came out, and it was the best tasting steak that I've ever had. And I used zero sauce. I ate it as it was from the grill, and beautiful. I was like, if this is what steak is supposed to be, I want this.
Every day.
Because I used to grill my own steaks at home, not knowing what I was doing. I'd get a T-bone from the local grocery store in my small town, and I'd just throw it on a grill with a flaming hot fire, and that was it. It was overcooked and chewy, and I had to down it with some sauce to kind of make it tolerable. And this piece was so smooth. And then I moved to Lafayette into 2010, and then I hear about Ruth Chris, and I've seen it on like Kardashian's Ruth Chris, but they had it here, and I was afforded an opportunity to go there without having to pay for it, which if you know what Ruth Chris is, it's expensive. So my wife and I, we went, and I got the filet there. Like, all I get is filet now. Like, that's all I want. And it was probably even the best steak at that time. Like, it was so good. I'm like, what is the deal? I can't just come to Ruth Chris to get a steak because it's so expensive, but it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of butter and all this good stuff because filet is usually a lean piece of meat. And then Pour in River Ranch, they have a great filet. But I'm on a filet trip. Y'all stop. I'm hungry. God dang it.
I've been on a kick here lately where if they offer a special that doesn't have seafood, I'll go with that. And the last one I had was at a Preservation in New Iberia.
Okay.
They had a pork steak, a bone-in pork steak, and I would never order that off the menu. But because they said special, I was, man, that sounds really good. And it was really good.
It was slow cooked though, right?
It was.
Okay.
Man, it was good. Yeah, it was great. That was a great pork steak.
Have you ever been to Johnson's in downtown Johnson? I think it's Buccaneer.
I have not.
They have a pork steak on Sunday. Now, you got to get there early.
Yeah.
Because it runs out. But you get the pork steak, and it comes with, rice and beans and stuff like that, and I think a piece of bread. But the pork steak, normally in Cajun country, a pork steak is a piece of bone-in pork chop, pretty much. Essentially, you just slap it on the grill. You get it real hot. You cook it all the way through. It's hard as a rock, and it's chewy. But you'll tolerate it because you slap some Jack Millers on it, and it's good. Or Pig Stand, whatever your favorite is. They're both the same to me. But I like Jack Millers if I'm going to get it. So, and it's fine. You eat it. They have that, but it's bigger, and they slow cook it, and I got it. And I stuck my fork in it, and it just literally broke as I stuck my fork in it. I'm like, oh, this is going to be different.
This is different.
And so I was eating it. I'm like, dude, why does this food got to be so freaking good? Like,
it ruined you. Yeah.
It does, man.
Yeah. So, good food would do that to you. I'm trying to think of what else I've been on here lately. Charcuterie boards. I know I'm late to the trend on that, but man, I love those things, and started getting into cheese and different meats, and Where we had one here recently. It's downtown with the Bull, the Spanish place.
Pamplon's, yeah.
Man, that was great. Went there with my brother. He was in town, and some other friends that we have, and I had never been before, and it was one of those deals. I was like, hey, Bobby, you order. I just don't want seafood. And so he ordered everything for the table.
You sure you don't want the fish with the head still on it?
I'm good. Man, it was great. However, with seafood, I will eat it if it's put in front of me. So if I'm somewhere and that's what's on the table, well, that's what we're going to eat. And
okay.
It won't be my thing, but
so you were one of those kids growing up where your mama said, hey, this is all we're going to get. If you don't eat it, you're going to bed.
Yeah. And if you don't like it for dinner, you better hope you like it for breakfast.
Right. Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So it was, that was your meal until you were done with it. And you can have you can have something else when you're finally done with this. So I had many breakfasts that were left over from dinner.
Yeah.
And it's yeah. So, yeah. I'll eat crawfish now in a social environment. If we're all sitting around peeling crawfish, I'll eat it. But it's never anything that I'll order.
Yeah, I can't do crawfish. My mom can. My wife, thankfully, doesn't like seafood either.
Really?
I know. We were made for each other for real. Like, I don't have to worry about going to a restaurant and feeling shamed by my own spouse. Like, we don't order. It's steak or chicken or pork. Yeah, usually.
My wife will eat seafood. My youngest will too. My youngest loves. She's 9. She loves shrimp fettuccine. That's if we go somewhere, she'll either order a shrimp fettuccine or steak medium rare.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, she's
blue almost.
She loves some steak. Vivian loves some steaks. So we have some videos of her. We were eating steak at home, and she couldn't have been more than 2.5, and she called it skake, and she's like, I want a steak. She's still into steak, so
that's good.
Shrimp. She likes shrimp, not fried.
Okay, so I want to go ahead and start wrapping it up. We have y'all's website. So if you're watching still, thank you because I've taken an hour of your time. So HuyaCraftCoffee.com, HuyaCraftCoffee.com. I don't know why I have felt led to spell it for you, but just in case you needed it. And you can see it on your screen there too. And so a couple of more photos. This is a photo of David and his family from, it looks like from the anniversary.
The birthday party yesterday?
Yeah, the birthday party, yeah. So, and we also have a couple of other photos. So they use Rev Coffee, which is a local roaster here. If you don't know Rev, then like we've talked about, they've been around for, we'll say 9 years now. Great company. They have a couple of locations. Check them out. And then this is some of their specials that Huya has had. This is a breakfast burrito. I think it had, was it chorizo and some other stuff in it?
Chorizo, potatoes, eggs. It was without the tortilla or the cheese. It was over 10 ounces of filling. It was a massive.
Wow, it
breakfast
does
burrito.
look big, yeah. And then you have this, what is a, it looks like a California-inspired quinoa dish. I almost thought it was avocado toast before I clicked the photo to make it bigger, and I was like, wow, okay, it says quinoa in the caption. I've never had quinoa. Is it kind of like a rice?
It is.
Okay.
So the story behind the Saturday specials, real quick, is and that's just so they know, every Saturday is a different special. Sometimes we'll rotate them back in if they were a customer favorite, but every Saturday we'll do a Saturday special. Either myself, our manager Logan, or we have a new chef, and she'll be doing them too. But we start developing them earlier in the week. We make a test one. If we like it, we go forward with it. But every Saturday is something different, and we only do about 24 to 30 servings, and that's it. Once they're out, they're out.
Wow.
And, you got to get them while you can. And they're usually breakfast themed because that's when we're the busiest. And so we usually try to do a breakfast themed special.
How long does that last? You said 30 to 50-ish?
24 to 30 is normally what we do.
Okay.
If it's during our really peak season and we know it's a great one. So let's say like we did boudin breakfast burritos, and I think we had to make 60 of those. Like the first time we made it, only 25. They sold out within an hour. And then, so the next time we did them, we did about 50 or 60. And it took us a little bit longer to sell out.
Okay.
But like last week, those breakfast burritos sold out within an hour and a half, 2 hours. They were
Man,
done.
yeah. You got to get there. You got to be at the door ready.
Yeah. And we'll do phone orders and all that. But when people know it's a hot one, they'll order ahead and they'll have them. They'll order 3 or 4 at a time.
Wow.
So we're excited about the special tomorrow. It's going to be a pulled pork sandwich with a provolone cheese, fried egg, thick cut tomato, and a house-made hollandaise sauce that we're going to put on the bread. So it's going to be a really big, thick, hearty sandwich that we're pretty excited about. It's the photo should be coming out pretty soon. So
sweet. I'm looking forward to that.
We're excited. It's going to be good.
Well, cool. David, I appreciate you taking the time to come hang out and talk about your company, and then, of course, go down a tangent of food talk. And we had a few listeners drop off whenever I started talking about my own experiences with steak. Okay, I'm sorry if it was not the most entertaining for you. I thought it was great. And so hopefully you're still listening. But anyway, David, appreciate you again. I love the company. I love the concept, and I hope to try a Pop Tart soon.
If you don't come by, I'll bring you one.
Okay.
We'll make it happen. Yeah,
we're going to make it happen. I don't know what flavor you're going to have, but honestly, I think at this point, any flavor looks good to me. Good. So, yeah. I do love apple pie.
We do have a good apple.
You have an apple one?
Yeah. Man,
okay. You're going to have to let me know when that one's around, because that's probably the one I want to try. But I love blueberry. I love all those, and like the Pop Tart brand. Speaking of, have you had any contact from the Pop Tart brand?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Then, whenever we've done anything that was going to be televised or something like that, we'll usually call it a puff pastry or a puff tart or something like that.
Yeah. I got to skirt around it. So, but I mean, people will call it what they want eventually.
Yeah. So, yeah. Maybe getting a call now. Thanks.
No. Trust me. I waited long enough to the end of this. I don't think any executive
call and ask me, you good?
First, you good? If Pop Tart Corporation is watching this, then thank you for watching this. I seriously appreciate your viewership there, Pop Tart, which I doubt it. Yeah, anyway, David, hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend, and I look forward to try the Pop Tart soon.
Thank you, Ben. Huya.
Huya. All right, guys. Well, that is it. Hopefully you have a great Friday and a great weekend as well, and we'll see you on the next one. All right. You have a good one.